So I think that the most important, or arguably the most important lesson I have learned as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, or as a marketer is the importance of lifecycle marketing. And let me explain what I mean by that, because I know it's not too profound on its surface. So in order to be a business, in order to stay in business, you need to have customers. And that means that people have to be able to pay you for a product or service. That's a transaction has to take place, right? That's how commerce works. Makes sense, right? But I think what a lot of businesses overlook is that purchase is part of a customer's journey, right? So that customer, they bought, right? But something happened before they bought. They learned about your brand, or you earned their trust, right? And something happened before that, and something happened after they bought. Hopefully you gave them the thing they bought. Maybe you recommended another product, or you recruited them for your partner program, right? So that purchase is sort of this fulcrum. And then everything radiates out in either direction, pre-sale or post-sale, right? And so if you accept that as true, if you acknowledge that they have this customer journey, then it really just becomes about what that experience looks like. Is it something that just happens, right? Which is the case for a lot of businesses. They fulfill on their first purchase, and then that just sort of becomes their process, right? Or is it something that you have designed, something that has been built intentionally and strategically to create an experience that you want that person to have, right? I think that's where the lesson is. It's not really so much about whether or not a customer journey exists, because it does. It's more about whether or not you have planned that customer journey, whether or not it's something that you intentionally created for them, right? Are the experiences that they are having deliberate, or is it just sort of whatever happens, right? And that's where I think businesses can differentiate themselves, is thinking through and architecting specifically what you want your customers to experience. Okay, so if we treat the purchase as sort of the fulcrum here in this equation, you break lifecycle marketing into 3 stages, right? So there's everything that happens before the purchase, and then there's the actual transaction and that experience, and then there's everything that happens afterward, right? And so if you use the Infusionsoft graphic, they call it attract, sell, and wow, right? This is, if you're just starting with lifecycle marketing, there's nothing wrong with lumping it into those high-level stages. But if you are revisiting a strategy, or if you just like to be a little bit more specific about the experience you're creating, I recommend drilling down a little further into kind of sub-stages, right? So what I've got here are individual stages that I use within my business when I'm planning a specific marketing strategy or my overall customer journey, right? So it starts with traffic. And then you've got lead capture, which is the exchange of information. That's where they opt in for something. Deliver is where you give them the thing that they opted in for. And then ideally, they would jump right to convert, where they become a customer right away. But there is a stage in between, which is nurture, and that's more for the people who need a little bit of time. They they want to understand more about your business and your brand. That's where you can demonstrate your expertise, or build authority, or just really deliver value and show them what you're all about. After the purchase, right, once they do decide to become a customer, there's more that needs to take place, and that is the fulfillment aspect. That's largely where you give them whatever it was that they bought, add them to your membership program, or deliver the coaching, or ship them their physical goods. And then there's whatever comes next. I've got it labeled here as upsell, but this could easily be either a repurchase, or a product ascension path, or a recruiting them for a partner program, right? It's whatever you want to have happen after they are a customer. It could just be becoming a brand advocate, right? So when you think about these stages and you deliberately plan what needs to happen, what you end up with the byproduct is that you have created your customer journey. And so if you use this as a framework, it really gives you a running start into considering not only what is going to happen at each juncture here within their journey, but how those pieces tie together. And to me, that's as important, or maybe more important than the individual stages, is the connection between them, the cohesion that allows you to transition customers seamlessly throughout this experience, guiding them in the steps that you want them to take. So the example I want to walk through here is an automated webinar strategy that I just recently launched for Monkeypod, and I'll just do this as a quick exercise for you. But if you think about those stages, traffic, right? For this automated webinar, I'm running a series of Facebook ads, so that's where my traffic is coming from. There will also be some invites sprinkled to my existing audience, but largely the cold traffic will come from Facebook advertisement. Now, the lead capture component in this particular strategy is a landing page that I built using lead pages, and I used the Demio embed code, which is Demio is the webinar platform that the automated webinar is hosted on. So I embedded that on those lead capture pages. So the Facebook traffic comes to these pages. They have the opportunity to sign up, which almost seamlessly transitions them to the deliver stage, right? As soon as they opt in, they can join the webinar right away. It's an automated webinar, so that's the benefit there. But there are some emails, reminders if they choose to schedule for a session in the future. So that's the deliver experience. I know specifically what that looks like. I've tested it thoroughly. I've sat through my own webinar a handful of times. I've received the emails that they receive just to make sure that they are coming at an appropriate time and building the right expectations. And then from the webinar, there is a call to action, and people can move on and buy my courses directly from there. But the contingency plan, right, if they don't, is the nurture section. And so I have an Infusionsoft campaign designed to follow up with the people who attend the webinar but don't buy one of my courses as a result. And so that stays in touch with them. It offers some alternative paths. Hopefully it delivers some value as well. But it essentially fortifies the relationship that I have already established. Now, the conversion piece in this equation is a purchase, right? And so for me, it's my courses or my membership. And those are all Infusionsoft order forms. I do use Spiffy to give them a mobile optimized look and feel that I can be proud of, and one that I think represents my brand. But largely it's just an Infusionsoft purchase. And that could be different depending on what your call to action is. It doesn't have to be a purchase, but in this particular tactic, it happens to be. Following the conversion, there is the fulfillment, and I use a sort of a gear icon here because this is automated, right? If I do my job well, I should have lots of people buying, and I don't want to have to fulfill on those courses manually. So I set up the automation, of course, to automatically add them to the membership area, to deliver their access credentials, and to follow up with them as they make their way through the various courses. And then from there, it actually links into my existing customer ascension path. So depending on the course that you buy, there is automation in place that will guide you towards the next logical course. Or if you decide that the courses aren't for you, it'll guide you towards the membership program. Or if for some reason nothing that Monkeypod does interests you, I've got a plan in place to, of course, make recommendations and refer you to the services that you are actually after. So the reason I walk through this is not because I think I have everything figured out. I'm sure there are, countless ways that this could be improved. The reason I go through this is because this is what it takes. If you're launching a webinar, right, it's just a webinar, but the traffic has to come from somewhere. They have to register somewhere. Something has to happen after they attend the webinar. And then what happens after that? And after that, right? And so the nature of looking at lifecycle marketing as this framework, it forces you to think through the experience that you are creating, right? And so for me, this is what I've laid out. If you are interested in experiencing the automated webinar, let me know. I'll happily share the link with you. But I want you to take this process, this conversation, and apply it to your own tactics, your own marketing strategies that you are launching. Every single one of them fits within a customer journey. So it's just really a matter of understanding, accepting that, and then thinking through what should that customer journey look like. Now, hopefully this was useful for you. Like I said, this is one of the single most important lessons that I have learned as a small business owner. And each time I go through this exercise, I am reminded of the importance here. So hopefully that benefits you. Thanks for your time.